A lingering thought echoed in the warrior's mind, a question that hung heavy in the air after the intense encounter. Does that mean the quest is not over yet? The weight of that possibility settled upon them, a mix of anticipation and trepidation. Time seemed to stretch, each second pregnant with unspoken challenges. Then, a notification appeared, confirming their suspicions. The job change quest will begin. A wave of grim determination washed over the warrior. I knew it. There's no way that was the end. The nature of the challenge was then revealed. The longer you last, the more points you can collect. That will place you into a higher tier, job points. The warrior understood the implication. This wasn't simply about survival. It was about endurance, about pushing their limits to achieve the best possible outcome. The longer I last, good luck, they muttered to themselves, a wry acknowledgement of the arduous path ahead. A single second ticked by, marking the official start of the trial. Despite the previous strenuous battle, the warrior assessed their current state and found a flicker of confidence. I can take these guys on even with my current condition. If they were on the level of Igress, the first enemies would have been impossible to beat. The warrior understood the stakes. Every second means more points, so the chance of obtaining a hidden class goes up the longer the timer goes on, befitting for a job change quest. Time continued to flow, measured in precious seconds. 14 seconds. My remaining mana is 390. Stealth requires 200 mana to use. I still have 190 mana left to maintain stealth. Mana is consumed every second. That means I can buy 3 minutes of time with stealth. The warrior calculated their resources, planning their strategy with meticulous care. I still have enough HP and MP. I'll try to last as long as possible. Suddenly, a new threat emerged. Magician is using a skill, detection. An alarm sounded, confirming the worst. It detected me through my stealth. The warrior was forced to adapt, their carefully laid plans disrupted. A new skill was activated by an unseen opponent. Skill, Bloodlust was activated. The target stats will decrease by 50% for 1 minute. Bloodlust mana consumption is 100. The warrior knew this was a critical moment. I only get one chance. I have to deal with as many as possible during this window. The onslaught began. Numbers flickered into view, marking the dwindling health of the encroaching enemies. HP 1, 036, 1, 027, 8. The enemies emerged from the gates in relentless waves. They come out of the gates faster than I can deal with them. The pressure mounted, threatening to overwhelm the warrior. Passive skill, Perseverance is activating. The situation was rapidly deteriorating. Damn it, I took this too lightly. I used too much mana on stealth. At this rate, I won't be able to use any skills soon. A difficult decision loomed. Should I use the half-stone? The warrior weighed the options. I'm not sure what I gain from obtaining a job, but at my current level, the difficulty is too high. If I use the Hearthstone, it means I give up the quest. The weight of failure pressed down, but the warrior refused to yield easily. The time. It's only been 5 minutes. 5 minutes and 8 seconds. There's no way. I have to persevere. A surge of determination coursed through them. It can't end like this. Because I was at rock bottom, I longed for the highest place. I know the sadness of being weak more than anyone. The harsh realities of their past echoed in their mind. How much help can an E-rank be? Even the guild is the same. We have to send people who have war potential. That guy, he doesn't. That guy always hides behind teammates to stay alive. To think that someone who can't even handle one monster properly is a hunter. The warrior's thoughts drifted to the cruel whispers that had followed them. His nickname is the world's weakest. The world's weakest, not the strongest. That's what we call S-rank hunters. Some is considered to be the weakest. I mean, he's weak enough to get hurt in an E-ranked dungeon. Is he actually the weakest? Yeah, he's probably the weakest of us all. He's actually that weak, so that means our dungeon will be weak as well since he came. The cutting remark stung, fueling their resolve. Hey, he might hear us. Let's end it for now. The memories of past failures and the dismissive words of others fueled a burning desire to prove themselves. The warrior recalled the well-meaning but ultimately disheartening words of others. Son, you've done what you can. How about getting some rest? Jin-Woo, please get some rest now. Wasn't that all your fault? Why do you always move away from the safe road and dance with danger on every occasion? Isn't it a great fortune that an E-rank hunter like you is able to grow this much? These words, intended as comfort, instead highlighted their perceived limitations. The warrior refused to accept this narrative. They would not be defined by their past or the opinions of others. This trial, this job change quest, was their opportunity to rewrite their story. They would endure, they would persevere, and they would emerge stronger than ever before. The warrior focused their attention back to the immediate threat, the relentless waves of enemies pressing in. They would not surrender, not while a breath remained in their body. The determination etched on their face, a fierce defiance against the odds, a silent promise to themselves and to all those who had doubted them. The warrior adjusted their grip on their weapon, every muscle tense, ready to meet the next wave. The memories of past hardship, the sting of ridicule, all coalesced into a burning resolve. They would not be the world's weakest. They would not be defined by their E-rank status. They would not be a burden to others. This quest was their crucible, and they would emerge from it forged anew. The warrior began to move with a renewed sense of purpose. Each strike was precise, each movement calculated. They focused on exploiting the weaknesses of their opponents, using their agility to evade attacks and their strength to deliver powerful blows. They conserved their remaining mana, using skills only when absolutely necessary. The battlefield became a blur of motion, the warrior a whirlwind of action amidst the chaos. Why do you always stray from the safe path, dancing with danger at every turn? Isn't it fortunate that a hunter of your initial standing has managed to progress this far? Isn't that so? The disembodied voice, laced with a mixture of condescension and a strange sort of admiration, echoed in Jin-Woo's mind. A phantom image of himself, transformed, stood before him. Sung Jin-Woo, wow. Is this truly me? It's hard to believe we are the same person. You're taller. You've gained considerable muscle, and your gaze is far sharper. You even project an aura of strength. The image paused, its expression shifting from observation to something akin to mockery. But the only tangible change is your outward appearance. Deep down, you remain the same, fundamentally vulnerable. What, then, is the true distinction between you and the person you once were? You've once again placed yourself on the precipice of ruin. The phantom self continued its relentless critique. E-rank hunter Sung Jin-Woo, ultimately, that is your defining characteristic. If you cannot master self-preservation, your bravery becomes mere foolishness. Enough, Jin-Woo retorted, the phantom's words striking a painful chord within him. Unfazed by his outburst, the phantom persisted. You have a long and arduous journey ahead. From this point forward, you will be faced with difficult choices, situations where you might have to make difficult decisions that could affect many people, including those closest to you. You yourself will be the architect of your own downfall. The phantom's words triggered a fragmented memory, a sense of déjà vu. What? It feels like this has happened before. But what transpired afterward? Confusion clouded his thoughts. I can't quite recall. Quest directives. Daily quest. Preparing for ascendancy. Objective. Push-ups 0 out of 100. Sit-ups 0/100. Squats 0/100. Running 0 out of 10 kilometers. Warning. Failure to fulfill this daily objective will result in a penalty connected to this quest. A timer appeared, counting down relentlessly. 7 seconds remaining. 6-5. Is the daily objective expiring? A chilling premonition settled over him. They say fortune favors the bold. It would appear that allowing you to simply perish here would be wasteful. The phantom's image began to dissipate, leaving a final, ominous farewell. Farewell. 1 second, 0 seconds. An alarm shattered the silence. Daily quest failed. Immediately, another alarm sounded, its tone even more urgent. Relocation to the penalty zone commencing. The world around Jin-Woo dissolved, reforming into a starkly different environment. This is the penalty zone? Wait. A sudden realization dawned on him. Did I even complete my daily objective today? I was so focused on completing the previous task that it completely slipped my mind. I assumed this would be a swift process, something I could conclude within a single night. This is far from ideal. I need to secure a job advancement quickly and then address my daily objectives. A wave of anxiety washed over him. If this takes more than 12 hours, I could become prey to the centipede once again. I managed to escape by the skin of my teeth last time. But if I were to encounter it in my current state, could I truly overcome it? The weight of his negligence pressed heavily upon him. In retrospect, I completely neglected today's daily objective. The allotted time has expired. How foolish of me to assume I would emerge unscathed from that situation. His current condition was displayed before him, a stark reminder of his weakened state. HP 90, 310 to 278, MP 202/800, fatigue 91. The fatigue level was particularly concerning. Good luck. The longer you endure, the more points you accrue, which will elevate you to a higher classification, job points. The longer good luck. As of 1 second, the repeated well wishes struck Jin-Woo as peculiar. Was this trial designed to be so incredibly arduous that it necessitates such encouragement? Or is it simply a gesture of support, urging me to strive for a higher score? He pondered the implications of the message. Fortune, chance, happenstance, whatever term you prefer. Fatigue 91. I believe this is the first instance of my fatigue exceeding 90. Remembering the substantial sum of gold he had acquired, Jin-Woo decided to utilize a restorative item. Given my current financial resources, I should utilize the highest quality restorative potion I possess. As he consumed the potion, notifications appeared in rapid succession. Fatigue restoration commencing. Fatigue restoration commencing. Fatigue restoration commencing. While the potion effectively addressed his fatigue, a critical issue remained. While my exhaustion can be mitigated, my physical condition remains unchanged. It appears these potions offer no restorative effect for physical condition. Very well. The reality of his situation sank in. Severely compromised. It seems the only recourse is to patiently await the natural restorative processes of my body. I am uncertain of the restorative properties within the job change trial zone, but perhaps I can facilitate some recovery through advancement within this space. Even if I am vulnerable to a single significant impact, I have never felt more focused. A new concern arose. The fundamental question is whether the inhabitants of this area will facilitate my advancement. Another cryptic message materialized. Until we meet again. The enigmatic message further heightened the tension. Indeed, if I manage to endure until then. Suddenly, an alarm blared, its tone demanding attention. Penalty quest initiated. Objective, endurance. Goal, remain within this space until the designated time elapses. Time allocation, 4 hours. Time remaining, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. The weight of the challenge settled upon Jin-Woo. 4 hours. In his current state, within a penalty zone. If the discomfort does not overcome me, he declared, a steely resolve hardening his features, it will only serve to strengthen me. The timer began its relentless descent. Time remaining, minute 0, seconds 0. Oh well, a voice murmured, seemingly from a distance. What a strange turn of events. Why isn't he back yet? Is he still occupied with his duties at this late hour? Or perhaps, could he have found companionship? A chuckle followed. No, there's certainly no possibility of that. I explicitly stated as much to him. The voice then shifted to a more serious tone. There's a parent-teacher meeting scheduled for today. He'll undoubtedly be present. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo found himself trapped in a relentless trial. Penalty quest, survive. Goal, remain within this space until the designated time elapses. Time required, 4 hours. Remaining time, 0 hours, 15 minutes, 22 seconds. The clock was ticking, and the pressure was mounting. Suddenly, a notification appeared. Vital Strike LV1. Then, in quick succession, Vital Strike skill has leveled up. You leveled up. You leveled up. You leveled up. A small measure of relief washed over him. As expected, penalty zones allow for recovery through advancement. He considered his options. Since I can also access the store within this space, I can supplement my recovery with restorative potions. He reaffirmed his focus. Penalty quest, survive. Goal, remain within this space until the designated time elapses. Time required, 4 hours. Remaining time, 0 hours, 0 minutes. He noted the time. 3 minutes before I return to the job change quest. I still have a brief window for preparation. He considered his current equipment. Recycle's Fong is insufficient to penetrate the heavy defenses of those armored adversaries. I must utilize every available resource. I require a more potent weapon. He accessed the store interface. Store. A dagger suitable for piercing heavily armored foes. Guardian Saber. 890,000 G. Guardian Saber. 1.3 million G. Oracle Sword. 1.8 million G. Stone Axe. 2.8 million G. Night Killer. 3,102,629 G. Found it. He quickly compared the options. Oracle Sword, 1.8 million G. Stone Axe, 2.8 million G. Night Killer, 3,102,629 G. He made his decision. Purchase confirmed. Night Killer. A wave of anticipation washed over him. With this, the next encounter will unfold quite differently. The details of his new acquisition were displayed. Item: Night Killer. Item class: B-type dagger. Enhancement: plus 75 attack. Special effect: Night Slayer. When utilized against heavily armored opponents, inflicts 25% additional damage. He considered the implications. With this weapon, I won't risk losing my armament as I did with the half-stone. He then purchased a stock of bandages for immediate aid. Purchase confirmed. Bandages? He knew he needed to test his new equipment. There's no alternative. I must assess its effectiveness. He then turned his attention to another resource. I still possess this remaining runestone, Dominator's Touch. A skill can be obtained by shattering the rune. This is the runestone I acquired after the encounter with Gang Tae-shik. I will attempt to absorb and integrate its power. He focused his intent, and a notification appeared. Skill: Dominator's Touch has been learned. Skill: Dominator's Touch LV1. Active. Mana cost: none. Effect: allows manipulation of objects without physical contact. He considered the implications of this new ability. A skill without any mana expenditure? Its potential seems quite significant based on the description. Could this be the technique that individual utilized? Though, I doubt I can manipulate excessively large objects. He attempted to test the skill on a nearby object, but another notification appeared. The object remains unmoved. Your proficiency is too low. His attention returned to the immediate challenge. Penalty quest: survive. Goal: remain within this space until the designated time elapses. Time required: 4 hours. Remaining time: 0 hours, 0 minutes, 4 seconds. Remaining time: 0 hours, 0 minutes. This is my final opportunity for preparation. Remaining time: 0 hours, 0 minutes, 1 second. Remaining time: 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. I must now rely on chance. A notification confirmed the end of the preparatory phase. Penalty quest concluding. As time passed within the penalty zone, Jin-Woo observed a disturbing trend. Their numbers have multiplied significantly within these few hours. He tested his new weapon against the encroaching adversaries. The Night Killer's special effect is undeniably beneficial. It's far more effective than relying on unarmed engagement. However, a deeper concern began to surface. There's a disconcerting aspect to this trial. I don't perceive any increase in my capabilities, even when facing such a large number of opponents. In the previous penalty zone, I faced those centipedes and even that commander Igress, and those encounters contributed to my growth. The system indicated that the restorative effects of level advancement would be limited, not the advancement itself. He observed the behavior of the adversaries. Although those figures have been chanting for some time, they haven't directly engaged me even once. Only the heavily armored figures have initiated contact. What, then, is the purpose of their incantations? Is it some form of weakening effect, perhaps a curse? No, I don't perceive any such influence. He then connected the dots. It's a summoning ritual. As time progresses, more of those armored figures emerge from the openings, constantly replenishing their numbers. No matter how many I neutralize, those armored figures offer no experience. These are not natural inhabitants of this space. They are constructs conjured by another entity. Therefore, they offer no experience. The summoners, they were the last to emerge from the openings. Those figures, it's you. He focused his attack on the chanting figures, and a notification confirmed his success. A figure has been neutralized. Then, a new skill was learned. Skill: Dagger Throw has been learned. He realized the true nature of the trial. Indeed, it appears those armored figures were being summoned through those openings by those figures. This is not the conclusion. I must locate the remaining summoners. He activated his stealth ability. Skill: Stealth LV1. Active. Mana cost: 200. Almost immediately, a warning appeared. A figure is utilizing a detection skill. 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 He realized his stealth had been compromised. You may have located my position, but in doing so, you have revealed your own. He counted the remaining figures. There are 5 summoners remaining. The details of his equipment and skills were then reiterated. Item: Night Killer. Item class: B-type dagger. Enhancement: plus 75 attack. Description: a dagger crafted with a robust, pointed blade capable of penetrating armor. The serrated edge ensures it maintains purchase even against hardened surfaces. Special effect: Night Slayer. When utilized against heavily armored opponents, inflicts 25% additional damage. Skill: Dominator's Touch LV1. Active. Mana cost, none. Effect. Allows manipulation of objects without physical contact. Skill. Dagger Throw LV1. Active. Mana cost, 30. Effect. Projects the dagger as a projectile, inflicting damage. As the skill level increases, damage and accuracy will improve. This is not the end, Jin-Woo declared, his voice echoing in the desolate space. I must locate the remaining figures. He activated his stealth skill, hoping to gain a tactical advantage. Skill. Stealth LV1. Active. Mana cost, 200. But almost immediately, a series of warnings disrupted his attempt at concealment. A figure is employing a detection technique. A figure is employing a detection technique. A figure is employing a detection technique. Magician Kian is employing a detection technique. Jin-Woo realized his position had been compromised. You may have discovered my location, he muttered, but in doing so, you've inadvertently exposed yourselves. He quickly assessed the situation. 5 summoners remain. He considered his options, his gaze falling upon the objects scattered around the area. Skill. Dominator's Touch LV1. Active. Mana cost, none. Effect. Grants the user the ability to manipulate objects without physical contact. He focused his will, attempting to use the skill to his advantage. Suddenly, a notification appeared. You have neutralized a figure. Only 4 remain. The tide of the encounter was beginning to shift. Time passed, filled with tense moments of pursuit and strategic maneuvering. Jin-Woo continued to utilize his skills and the environment to his advantage. He was no longer simply reacting to the summoner's actions. He was anticipating them, predicting their movements, and turning their own tactics against them. After a particularly close call, Jin-Woo found an opening. How long are you going to remain concealed behind your conjured figures? He taunted, his voice carrying across the desolate space. The summoners, unnerved by his relentless pursuit, began to make mistakes. Another notification confirmed his progress. You have neutralized a figure. 3 remain. The remaining summoners, realizing the precariousness of their situation, began to group together, hoping to provide mutual support. Jin-Woo recognized this shift in their strategy and adjusted his own approach accordingly. He knew that a direct confrontation would be difficult, so he decided to use his environment to his advantage. He lured them into a narrow passage, limiting their mobility and making them vulnerable to a coordinated assault. The moment arrived. Now is the time, Jin-Woo exclaimed, launching a swift and decisive attack. A flurry of notifications confirmed his success. You have neutralized a figure. You have neutralized a figure. You have neutralized a figure. The remaining summoners were no more. Jin-Woo paused, catching his breath. Phew. It would have taken considerably longer if they hadn't been grouped together while performing that conjuring ritual. He looked around the now silent space. Is it finally over? A new message appeared, displaying the elapsed time, 4 hours, 29 minutes, and 16 seconds. Then, another notification. All the entities within this area have been neutralized. A sense of anticipation filled him. The trial will conclude now, or will something else manifest? A final message appeared, confirming the successful completion of the trial. You will be presented with the opportunity to select a specialization based on the accumulated points. Relief washed over him. It's over. I will finally receive a specialization. He considered his options. Given my proficiency with daggers, it's quite clear that I should select the assassin specialization. A new message appeared, altering his expectations. A specialization will be granted after a thorough analysis of the player's actions. Jin-Woo was taken aback. I'm not permitted to choose? I allocated all my stat points to strength and agility. I'll likely receive either warrior due to my high strength or assassin due to my agility. Or perhaps even a tank specialization is possible, given my high vitality. He reasoned with himself. It will be one of those 3. Regardless, I will become significantly more powerful. Then, a series of cryptic sentences appeared, describing his performance during the trial. Wherever the player treads, the Reaper follows. The player's path is strewn with the remnants of conflict and the lingering scent of conflict. As the player possesses formidable power, they do not rely on their companions, overcoming every challenge with their own might. Your thirst for power burns fiercely, enough to summon those who dwell in the Valley of Shadows. An army of the departed follows your command, forging a path where your will becomes law, and you will never require the assistance of another. Jin-Woo was bewildered by the description. An army of the departed? Wait, what is this? This is not the specialization I anticipated. He reviewed the details of his equipment, seeking some clarification. Item: Night Killer. Item class: B-type dagger. Enhancement: plus 75 attack. Description: a dagger forged with a resilient, pointed blade capable of effectively penetrating armor. The serrated edge ensures a secure grip, preventing slippage even against fortified surfaces. Special effect: Night Slayer. When used against heavily armored opponents, inflicts 25% bonus damage. Item, recycles Fong. Item class, C-type dagger. Enhancement, plus 25 attack. Description, a dagger crafted from recycles Fong. Special effects, paralyzing strikes, chance to temporarily hinder an opponent's movement, and bleeding strikes, inflicts damage over time. The fire of ambition for power blazed within Tim, so fiercely that it could awaken wandering spirits in the valley of death. That power, according to the whispers of the shadows, could summon an army of the undead, beings who would obey his every command, carving a path where his will would be law. And then, he would never again need the help of another army of lost souls await, Tim murmured, his voice echoing in the vast space. Or what is this? This isn't my job. Tim stared, bewildered, at the words that appeared before him. Your job is Necromancer. The word Necromancer emerged as a cruel twist, an injustice he couldn't accept. Necromancer? What is that supposed to mean? He couldn't believe his eyes. He had never once touched the intelligence stat before. I haven't even touched the intelligence stat even once. He felt like an invisible hand was mocking him. Subclass, Dark Magic Necromancer. The words reappeared as a stark confirmation. A grim magician and the undead army that follows. Tim gritted his teeth in anger. He had been a fighter from the moment he registered as an E-rank hunter. From beginning to end, he had only used swords and daggers. The skills he learned were all akin to those of an assassin. Then why choose this profession for me? He asked, his voice laced with disappointment and confusion. He reviewed his skills. The passive skill, Mysterious Smile, was at max level, Perseverance was at level 1, and Advanced Dagger Proficiency was at level 1. His active skills included Sprint at level 2, Bloodlust at level 1, Vital Strike at level 2, Dagger Throw at level 1, and Stealth at level 1. All of these were the skills of a warrior, an assassin. But alongside those, new class skills had appeared: Shadow Extraction at level 1 and Shadow Save at level 1. If I had to choose the advantages of a necromancer, Tim mused, it would probably be the ability to create your own army, like the system said. However, those undead armies were like slaves. They couldn't become stronger. He feared that the power stats he had so painstakingly cultivated would become useless. Strength 132, Vitality 91, Agility 111, Intelligence 7093. An alarm chimed. Will you accept your job? Accept or refuse? Do I have a choice? Tim thought to himself. If I refuse, I could still get a different job. He felt confused, unsure of what to decide. Will you accept your job? The notification sounded again. I refuse. Necromancer is a hidden class, Tim stated, his voice filled with resolve. Are you sure you wish to refuse? The system asked, as if giving him a final chance to reconsider. A hidden class, a hunter who can create powerful shields, a hunter who can provide buffs to allies, even though they aren't a healer. He thought of hunters with special abilities like the White Tiger, the master of the White Tiger Guild, an S-rank hunter who was rumored to be able to transform into a monster. All hunters with those kinds of special abilities were hired by major guilds and had considerable power. Does a hidden class mean a unique ability, like the ones those hunters have? Tim wondered. He felt he didn't need to overthink it too deeply. What if I could experience being a necromancer firsthand? He suddenly thought of mages, those who had the ability to use powers similar to that of a necromancer. It's as if someone wanted to show me a sample of the skill. He didn't know who created this system, but he found it quite interesting. I have combat abilities, while those mages don't. If a mage had both close combat abilities and the ability to create his own army, then that person could solo clear B rank or even higher dungeons. In this game, your ability depends on your skill level and stats, he deduced. So that means the summoned ones can also become stronger. This isn't solo leveling anymore, he murmured. Your job has been chosen, the system announced. Based on the points you obtained, you will have a chance to promote to a higher class. You have exceeded the expected playtime, the system continued. Points will be added because you didn't use the half-stone. Points will be added because your final health was above 50%. Points will be added because all enemies have been defeated. Your total points have exceeded the limit, the system announced. Tim gasped. You will be promoted from Necromancer to Shadow Lord. Shadow Lord? Tim exclaimed. An instant promotion? You have learned a job-exclusive skill. You have received bonus stats. You have received the title The One Who Overcame Adversity. An instant promotion. Tim was astonished. He figured he had earned this right to promote through the accumulated points. Knight to Swordmaster, Mage to Grand Mage, Necromancer to Shadow Lord. Tim recounted the paths of promotion. If I didn't receive those bonus points, I probably would have had to stay as a Necromancer for a while. He suddenly heard a scream of pain. Shadow extraction can be used on this target, the system announced. Of course, this is a Necromancer ability. Shadow extraction, it must be a skill used to turn corpses into summonable beings, Tim realized. If the Necromancer is a commander-type job, then choose the command phrase for shadow extraction. Command phrase? Tim wondered. Arise! Tim shouted. A black light enveloped the corpses of the enemies he had just defeated. Ha! This skill is pretty cool, he exclaimed. Shadow extraction level 1, a job-specific skill. No mana required. A shadow soldier is created from a body without life by taking its energy. The chance of failure increases the higher the target stats are and the more time has passed since the target's demise. The number of shadows you can extract is 30, the system indicated. Shadow Save skill. Shadow Save level 1, a job-specific skill. No mana required. You absorb the created shadow soldiers and save them. The saved soldiers can be summoned and reabsorbed whenever the animator desires. Shadows Save 0/20. So that means I can turn all those that have passed away into summonable beings? Tim was excited. Shadow Infantry level 1. Shadow Magician level 1. 27 Elite Infantry and 3 Agakins. I can create up to 30 shadow soldiers, but I can only save 20 of them. You have reached the shadow extraction limit, the system announced. The number of shadows that can be extracted is 30/30ths. What if I could extract the shadow of an S-rank or A-rank hunter? Tim wondered. Your arsenal now contains 2 A-rank beings or beings with strong skills. Shadow extraction can be used on this target, the system announced. If you want to use shadow extraction again, you must send 1 or more shadow soldiers to the world of nothingness through cancellation. Cancel summon? Tim wondered. I'll have to remove the 11 weakest ones. Sorry, even though I called you, Tim said sadly. Cancel summon on 11 infantry units. You cannot summon shadow soldiers that have been sent to nothingness, the system notified. Tim looked at the corpse of the blood-red commander Egress. What if I get this guy as a subordinate? Arise. You failed to extract the shadow, the system announced. You still have 2 chances. It's not easy, Tim murmured. The extraction rate depends on the target's stats and the time since its demise. This guy is a boss monster and it's been over 4 hours since his death, so of course it will be difficult. Shadow extraction level 1, a job-specific skill. No mana required. A shadow soldier is created from a body without life by taking its energy. The chance of failure increases the higher the target stats are and the more time has passed since the target's demise. The number of shadows that can be extracted is 19/30ths. 2 chances left. You failed to extract the shadow. You still have 1 chance left, the system said. Halt. Tim commanded the shadows around him. Instead of protecting the place of someone who is gone, try protecting me, the one who is standing in front of you. Arise. Blood-red Egress. No. Tim paused. That name is too edgy. Just call him Egress. You have upgraded the shadow, the system announced. The shadow's level will be 7, higher than its class. A knight can be named. You are now Egress, Egress level 7, knight. You have successfully extracted the shadow. Status, name, Tim, level 51. Job Shadow Lord, fatigue. Title, Wolf Slayer, additional 1 HP, 135 MP, 1022, Strength 132, Vitality 91, Agility 111, Intelligence 7093, Physical Damage Reduction 46%, Points remaining 10 skills. Tim reviewed his skills. The passive skill Mysterious Smile, at max level, Perseverance, at level 1, Advanced Dagger Proficiency, at level 1. His active skills included Sprint, at level 2, Bloodlust, at level 1, Vital Strike, at level 2, Dagger Throw, at level 1, and Stealth at level 1.